Welcome to Jamie's Vinyl Hideaway. Hey, what are you doing in my chair? Tonight on Jamie's Vinyl Hideaway, we're going to do something completely different. All right, maybe a little different. And it's not me, my lovely assistant couldn't be with us tonight. So tonight, instead of playing some perhaps copyrighted material and talking about the records and showing them, I'm just going to show some records. And what I want to show is gimmick album covers. And to start, I'll go with the oldest one I have, 1968's Her Satanic Majesty's Request by the Rolling Stones. It's a 3D cover, kind of moves. Their heads move, and if you look closely, you could see John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Nice little gatefold cover. Little game in the middle. Fortunately, no one drew in the maze. This came out on London, the Blue Stereo label. And the Stones followed up a couple years later, 71, with Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers with the workable zipper. Now the problem with the workable zipper is it's not very good to the records next to it, which includes all the Sticky Fingers albums that it was shipped with. So if you look at the back of most Sticky Fingers albums, except for the one on the very bottom of the box, you'll see damage on the back where the zipper from the adjacent album kind of dented it. And this one has that. And some people, they couldn't get what they wanted to see with the zipper, so they ripped open the cover. Unfortunately, they did the same to this one. But little Andy Warhol artwork. So in 1972, a band called Captain Beyond, with Rod Evans from Deep Purple and a couple guys from Iron Butterfly, Bobby Caldwell, Lee Dorman, Rhino on guitar. They put out an album with a 3D cover, Captain Beyond. This was on the Capricorn label. Capricorn, famous for Southern rock, Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker, I believe. Good album. 72 was just like the year for novelty albums, it seems. Oh, wait, 71. The Doors. L.A. Woman, had a little window cover. I got this when I was a kid. My sister Debbie bought it for me. I damaged the one I had and got a better one, which wasn't really that good. So I had to buy a reissue just to play the music. But you could see no special little cover on the reissue. The Doors, a year later after Jim, came out with an album called Full Circle. A nice artwork on the front. And it had inside something was called a zoetrope. Zoetrope. You had to assemble this thing. See if I can show you all of it. You had to assemble it and put it on your turntable and then shine some light through it. And while you're playing the record, you could see the little people going around on the zoetrope. That was on the Elektra label, the butterfly cover. It says The Doors, Full Circle on the label there. It didn't do that well, the album. But, and that was kind of the end of the Doors shortly after that. But in 1972, we had some other music. And I did a show on Jethro Tull, and I left off just before the Thick as a Brick album. Turns out my sister Debbie also bought me this Thick as a Brick album when it came out in 1972. And it had a newspaper. And to me, 1972, 14-year-old kid, I thought this was a real newspaper. You know, it has all kinds of, lots of, it goes on and on. I never did this little color the dots. If I did, I would have seen there was a half-naked woman in here, and I might have thought it wasn't real. But then again, it's like a British newspaper, and it's the 70s. So really great album, and uh-oh, be careful, Jamie, be careful. Great album cover. And they didn't just think of that from nowhere. They got their idea from a 1969 Four Seasons album, the Genuine Imitation Life Gazette, which was also a newspaper type album. Oops, I got a record in here. On the Philips label. It was the Four Seasons foray into psychedelic music. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I guess a little Gazette comes inside the album cover with comics and ads and made up articles. This is a little more obviously not real, but then again, I probably would have thought this was real at 14 as well. There was also an album, a John Lennon album. Live in New York City had a newspaper thing. Got their idea from the Four Seasons, believe it or not. Speaking of John Lennon, where's my Walls and Bridges album? Here it is. Walls and Bridges had this little cutaway album cover where you could see the pictures underneath that John drew as a young boy. And if you flip them around, you want to bend up your record. You know, you can make different faces on John Lennon there. Not sure I recommend doing that. That, of course, was on the Apple label. Nice little green Apple label. Good album. Has that song with Elton John, where Elton John bet John, if this becomes a #1 hit, you have to come out and play with me at Madison Square Garden, which he did. But let's see. Oh, back to 1971. Bark by the Jefferson Airplane. A brown paper bag. The album came in a shopping bag. You can actually open this bag up. I wonder if anybody used it for garbage. One side, it has the band and little pictures of everyone in the band. Inside was the what came in the album, which was a fish in paper. Had a little lyric sheet. That was on the Grunt label, subsidy of RCA. Very thin vinyl. They were going real thin, especially RCA back then. There was another guy online, the Hog's Ear Report. Yes, the Hog's Ear Report had a couple of these same albums, and he had Long John Silver, which was the follow-up to that album, which I also have, but it's not in that great condition because I actually made it into the box. But and then after that, there was the Great Schism, and Jefferson Airplane broke up. And there's a little on the shrink wrap, there was a little sticker that had who played on it. So I don't know, I must have got the shrink wrap somehow and got the sticker off of it. Also in, 1970, Led Zeppelin, Zeppelin 3. Very popular album, came with a little pinwheel. Now, it's not a pinwheel, what do you call this? A wheel. It moves. Inside, you can see the pictures change through the holes. A little metal stud in the middle. Same problem that you had with the Sticky Fingers albums. There's dents on the back of every Led Zeppelin 3 album. And anyone who was unlucky enough to be in the record stack next to it after it was purchased. Anyway, nice gatefold cover. Zeppelin 3. That was on the Atlantic label. It's a stereo Green and red Atlantic, nice sturdy vinyl. Atlantic wasn't a bad record manufacturer. On to Warner Brothers. Ooh La La, The Faces. This was, I believe, the last album by The Faces. And it had a cover that would move. The eyes would move if you pushed it down. Let me see that. Oh yeah. And the teeth come out. Anyhow, the song Ooh La La, written by Ronnie Lane of The Faces, sung by Ronnie Wood, and Rod Stewart's on this album as well. Is it a gatefold? Oh wait, there's more. There's a picture. Oh, lovely picture. Lovely picture. That's on a Warner Brothers promo. Nice white promo label. Which leads me to 1972. Again, we're back to 72. Actually, I think that one came out in 73. No matter. None of these albums here come out after like 1975 or 6. School's Out, Alice Cooper. Now, I did a couple Alice Cooper shows, and the one that I talk about, School's Out and $1 Billion Babies, was unfortunately blocked. So I have to show these album covers again because they're just so cool. Not exactly practical, but the desk, a school desk, and inside the school desk is the panties. The feet will come down on the desk. On the very original one, you won't see the songs listed on the back. They added these in later. But anyway, this one was never opened up. But you know, the first one we all had, we opened up the desk and we sat it up. And if you look inside, you take out the. I didn't see the panties when I was a kid. They must have gotten rid of them by then. But there's the cool things inside the desk. Now the thing about the panties is that, of course, they're made of paper, and there was a problem, and they recalled them or they stopped making them, not because it was offensive, but because it was a fire hazard. Paper album cover, paper sleeve, paper panties, yet these are a fire hazard. What are people doing with these panties? I don't know. But anyhow. Follow-up album, $1 Billion Babies. A snakeskin billfold. Great album. Comes with the $1 billion bill. I'll show you that in a minute. Little cutouts of the band. And behind the cutouts are the credits to all the songs. So you had to rip them all out, which I did on my original copy. And read all the credits underneath, which are impressive. The $1 billion bill with the band in the center where the president should be. Ooh, looks like a big missile on the back there. What's that all about? Came with a lyric sheet. Finally, lyrics on an Alice Cooper album. Cool little picture on the inside. The green Warner Brothers label. Back to 1972, we had Grand Funk Railroad. See if I can blind you with Grand Funk Railroad. This album can be used to send signals if you're ever stranded somewhere and all you have is E Pluribus Funk. On the back, it's got the Shea Stadium. Grand Funk had played the Shea Stadium around that time and sold it out, or sold more seats than the Beatles. They were quite proud of that. 3 guys from Flint, Michigan. This came with a little lyric sheet inside. Now the problem with this record is, could you imagine putting an album here and then taking it in and out and in and out? It's hard to find one in good condition. I took mine and I put it in a little separate black sleeve. The Capitol label for this one was a gray color. But I keep it in this for practical reasons. Next up, Uriah Heep. Look at yourself. Oh, I can blind you with this one too. Little mirror. Oh. So people can look at themselves while they're listening to Uriah Heep's third album, 1972. On the Mercury label. Red Mercury label before they went to the greenish label with the building on it. Really good album. And I'm going to end with Sweet, another great hard rockin' album of Melinda. On her YouTube channel, she did a similar show about album covers like this, and this was one of the albums that she had, and this one winks. Give us a wink. So if you start, I guess, right there's the eyeball, and you winks. And the back also has a die-cut cover. Lots of eyes on these album covers. Anyway, that's my gimmick album cover show. I think I covered them all. There was like 14 of them. I tried to cut it to 10, but I kept adding ones in. I kept getting reminded of something that I forgot I had. And I think I covered them all. I hope you liked it. If you have any suggestions, any records that you thought should be in this list that I should get, let me know. Subscribe to my channel. That would be great. Make a comment. It's just me here tonight, so I'm going to walk around and hit the little button on the phone ending the show. So before I do, later, man, move it.